Happy Monday to you. It's the beginning of the week, and you got another episode of the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. Well, I'm so excited. I just returned last night back to lovely Seattle, Washington, and I got a chance to visit with the Florida Speakers Associations in Fort Lauderdale. And got a chance to keynote there and share 6 new ways to be engaging in your keynote, and got extraordinarily high ratings. It was really exciting there, and got a chance to really meet some of the members afterwards. Then I flew to St. Louis. I got some Sugar Fire barbecue. For those who are in St. Louis, probably know this place. And with Jasmine Webster, got a chance and the opportunity to produce the Association of Talent Development St. Louis's 79th conference. And it was really exciting. Look for the blog post about this. The blog post is going to be called Can't Touch This, and you've got to figure out why when you see that blog post if you're subscribed to my newsletter. And the second part around it is that it was just really great to be able to see the speakers that they have there, and they're getting ready for their 80th anniversary of their chapter. What an achievement. We celebrated our 40th here for National Speakers Association, but they have double the amount, 80 years. Hey, if you're watching on social media, make sure and subscribe, share, like, and comment. If you want all the episodes of this podcast, just go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online, subscribe on one of your 15 favorite podcast platforms. And if you want to learn how to be more engaging in the world, come to the Engaging Conference, now known as the Engaging Retreat. You can go to this URL or scan this QR code. You can get a free ticket, or more importantly, get a paid ticket. And if you are in one of our first 50 in-person people, you will get a chance to have your own 5-minute edited video, right? All for the low price of the in-person ticket. So you got to go check that out, because our next guest is going to be one of the speakers. So you're going to get a little preview of that today. This speaker is has a program called Finding Your Voice, or Vocal Influence. And I got to tell you that when you see her, when you meet her, we're going to talk about some of these tips about how you can use your voice when you're speaking. She is also a pickleball clogger, and she is National Speakers Association's Northwest Member of the Year. Please, let's welcome Rebecca P. Murray.
Thank you,
Got to get going, right, Rebecca?
It's a very energetic opening. Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. You remind us that we have royalty visiting us in November,
That's
right? You
right.
have to work on your Patricia Fripp
Oh, yes,
impression.
that's indeed correct. Yes, yes, yes. That's funny. Yes, it'll be fantastic to meet Patricia Fripp in person for the very
Yeah,
first
I
time.
I think you got to get on the you got to raise your hand immediately, Rebecca, and get on this coaching list, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, I will do that.
Meanwhile, some of my friends don't know you, but the best part is a lot of my friends do know you now too. I
Mhm.
love too. One of the things that I think that was best said at one of our last meetings was like, um, "It's just been a year." You joined National Speakers Association and made really a splash, and lots of people in our chapter got to know you. But some of my other friends
Mhm.
don't know who you are. So why don't you just take this moment and share a little bit of who you are and what you do in the world?
All right, thank you. Well, I have a diverse background, starting in the construction industry. Actually, before that, insurance, then as a safety risk manager in the construction industry, one of the very few females in the construction industry in the Puget Sound area, Seattle, in the early 90s. So, not just a unicorn, but a flaming pink unicorn on those job sites. I learned a lot about vocal influence back then. Transitioned then into dog training for 12 years, and then became a video producer. When I saw the power of video to teach people how to better be with their pets, I thought I went all in on this video thing. So I had a very successful video production photography business here in the Skagit Valley. And when I decided to go all in on speaking full time, from behind the camera to in front of the camera, let's say, one of my incredible employees stepped up, and he now gets all of my business. Still to this day, I give him many referrals, and he is just tearing it up out there, very successful in his own right, and I'm honored to be considered his mentor and influence. Now, what I do is I work with teams, mostly women, I would say, to enhance their vocal influence, to find ways so that their voice can rise above, their voice can shine in the world so that they can influence through their number one asset, their voice.
Mm. Well, a very, very important trait, I think. And what kind of led you to that and why maybe women specifically? I'm just curious why you chose that. You know, all of us have to pick a niche, right? And a
Right.
lane. I'm just curious why you chose that lane.
I think it's because throughout my life, I've always found myself in male dominated industries. And I've done a lot of not just my personal experience, but a lot of research on this. And, you know, as we all know, women still get a smaller piece of the leadership pie, have struggled for influence, especially vocal influence at the table. Now, one of the sentences that you gave me during the speaker showcase last year when I was putting together my 7-minute piece on vocal influence, starring Margaret Thatcher key as a key actor in that role, was that it's not enough having a seat at the table. What really matters is having a voice at the table, and further, a voice that others are willing to listen to. So, part of that is how your voice sounds, how you come across, and part of that is building your status within this group so that you feel comfortable and confident speaking up, even to the point of interrupting somebody, so that you can get some words in edgewise. So this has become a more and more important as I work with classically audiences that are mostly female. And I realize that this is where my passion comes from. I was raised by a feminist mother, a woman who raised 4 children while putting herself through law school as a single mother. And, you know, she had a huge influence in my life. And I still see there is work to do.
Now, I actually got a chance to watch. So I think you might know the social media dating platform called Bumble.
I've heard of it.
And so there's actually a documentary now of the behind the scenes story of the woman who created it. She actually became one of the first early entrepreneurs who became a $1 billion company founder.
Oh, I love this story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
That'll be one I'll have to look into.
yeah, I actually, yeah, I finally got a chance to see this. And so I'm just curious too, then, like maybe what's a challenge? What's the number one challenge that you see for women in the boardroom, and how
Hmm.
can you, what do you suggest to them? So again, like in team
Hmm.
building, we see patterns, right? We see patterns and traits. I'm just curious if you see like a recurring pattern or something that happens more often than not.
Hmm. Hmm. And having experienced this myself as well,
Right.
women in general were better listeners than men. I mean, research bears this out. And that's wonderful to have that as a superpower, right? But in the boardroom, it's interesting, research also bears out, is that those who speak the most have the most influence. And if you are not willing to step up,
Yeah.
interrupt with elegance and grace, to have a piece of the vocal pie, then the consensus might be that the person who's dominating the conversation, that everybody agrees with that person.
Right.
And we know that that's not true. So you're having this conversation in your mind like, yeah, that this person's going on and on. I have something to say. I'm uncomfortable interrupting. That's one of my actually, that's the program that I'm bringing to NACE, the National Association of Caterers and Event Planners, next month in October. And again for Skagit Island, actually, that's our whole regional SHRM chapter,
Mm.
is how to master the art of elegant interruption. This is essential, essential for women to learn to interrupt well. Research also shows that women who learn to interrupt well do rise up into leadership faster.
Oh, interesting. I think too, we just talked about this topic like as an MC. So as an MC, one of the things that you have to deal with, for instance, is speakers who go long, right? They go
Yes.
over their scheduled period of time. And then recently
Yes.
I had to do one. I'm curious, like I'm asking you if you have some other tactics around this, but one of them was I emceed a room with five people, and one of the here was my strategy. 2 minutes, I'm in the corner of the room. Like I get out of my seat, I'm in the corner of the room. At,
Yeah.
at time, I physically move till the end of the stage. After time, right, then I start walking on stage closely to the person,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
person got to the 4 minute over stage, and I'm standing right next to them. Now I haven't said a word. This is the funniest part, Rebecca, is I haven't said a word, but they looked at me and they're like, "Are you going to play me off?" And I said, "I haven't said anything." But I just stood there, right? And eventually, within 1 to 2 minutes, he finally finished the part, and so, uh,
Ah,
yeah, I just developed this physical presence part to be able
yes, yes.
to keep this thing on time, and so that was one of the ways that I do it. I don't know what you
Yes.
see in the boardroom because I do see that it's an important skill to have, but it's can be uncomfortable.
It absolutely is uncomfortable. And what made me laugh is thinking of everyone in the audience watching this play out on stage
They did.
and the impression that you get, that you form about that individual who seems to be in love with their own voice so much that they don't want to stop talking. And it's not a good look. It's not a good, it's not a good impression. In fact, when I see that, I get an impression like maybe I don't want to be I don't want to end up in a long conversation with this person because I'm going to feel like in order to, like, you're not going to stop talking so that I can talk. That's the other side of interruption. If we
Right.
all learn to be brief, stay on time, and stop talking, to get allow a pause for others to step in, this is what's called voice equity. And I am passionate about the topic of vocal equity, passionate about it, because there are people that will not step in unless there is a pause.
Hmm.
And there are people that don't even know what a pause is. Or for them, pause is a half of a breath, a quarter of a breath. Well, I paused, they didn't step in, so I guess they want me to keep on talking. I'll just keep on talking and they'll keep on listening. And I love that. So, yeah, I'm thinking about that. There are actually four types of interruption that I cover in the session.
Okay.
Interrupt to help someone distill. We have to do that sometimes as leaders. My philosophy is that most people who use an overabundance of words and take a long time to get to the point. Oh, I picked up this card and this gets to it. When
When someone says, "Oh yes," and to make a long story short, it's usually too late. I know I've been noticing this trend with some people, and I'm like, you have to really work on stories to make them short. Like
you do.
sometimes when I first tell a story, you can tell it's too long, right? And then as you tell the story more and more, you can actually find and boil down the point sometimes to, like, to an essential part. And it's a favor for everybody if you can do it.
It's a
Favor.
favor. It's a favor. So interrupt to distill.
Yes.
Most people who use an overabundance of words, they're very aware of this. They've been told this their whole life. Like they see our eyes rolling back on our heads and they get a little nervous, a lot of them, and they keep talking. This is like a nervous habit for a lot of people. So understanding this, never feel bad about using the tactic of gracefully interrupting to help someone distill because that helps both of you. So interrupt to distill,
Okay.
interrupt to redirect back to where we started or the topic at hand,
Right.
and interrupt to move on elegantly. You're having a great conversation with somebody, you're at a networking event, but you promised yourself, I need to meet more than one person. So interrupt to move on. And then also, lastly, and this one, not we don't have to do this very often, But when we do, this is a high level leadership opportunity for you, a way to use your influence. Interrupt on behalf of someone else.
Oh,
This is when you're in the boardroom
yeah.
and the person who's pretty quiet, but you know that they have something to say, they
Yes.
finally use their voice to speak up. And then the person who, oh, I know how to finish this for you. Yeah, or we've already covered that topic, or whatever it is, or the person in love with their own voice, overtalks that person, talks over that person, and then you as an observer can say, "Hey, Jim, I think John wasn't finished yet. John, you have the floor. Go ahead."
Yeah. And that's advocating or allyship or whatever you want
Yes,
to call it.
yes, powerful.
And I think it's really valuable in social capital as well as the whole conversation in general, right? Ideally, or in facilitation, we're trying to make it easier. We're trying to make it easier to hear everybody's point and then make a decision.
Yes.
And so
Now, the
these are,
boardroom, of course, is sort of like a laboratory. I think of everything as a laboratory,
yeah,
um, where it's more of a controlled situation. Conversations in the wild and interrupting, that is a little bit different when you have more, like let's say you're at a networking event where this circle of people forms, right?
yes,
And maybe they're talking on a subject that you um, have no experience with, and they're going at it right, left, and center, and you feel like, well, I guess I'm just an observer here in this conversation, and you start to feel a little bit invisible. So I think that is sort of a two-way thing. I experienced this the other night, actually,
oh,
and so I'm always observing as I'm participating, right? Because I'm a social scientist at heart.
right,
And I'm thinking, I'm feeling invisible. No, no one's asking me anything. And yet this and they all know each other better than I know any of them individually. They know me as a speaker. I presented at their event in the past, an event that several of them were at. But on a personal level, I don't know them as well as they know each other. And I don't do this hobby that they're all talking about intensely. Also, their children, which mine are grown. And then this other person comes into the circle just as I had my opening, right then. And like two sentences in, she comes into the circle, and a part of my brain was like, that's it. That's my opening. I lost it. And now the whole focus is on her, bringing her in, and yet here I'm feeling invisible again. So what I did was this. I thought about it, that somebody said something that I actually could contribute to, and yet these people were the kind, all of them, rapid fire talkers. This is sort of like more of an East Coast kind of thing, really, where they're just coming in at all angles. It's like a freeway, you know, the fast lane and the freeway, and I'm trying to cut in, and I don't see any way to do it except for to crash into somebody, and I don't want to do that, but I did it. I did crash in.
mm,
So knowing that they've all had plenty of words, and I've had very few. Going back to voice equity,
hmm,
I decided to overtalk one of them as she was coming down on one of her sentences, redirect it back to something that we had talked about that I wanted to know more about, and that does take courage to do that, you know, and a little bit of practice. Like
yeah,
just you basically talk over somebody, but in you've thought about it. You're not doing it to be rude. You're doing it to achieve voice equity.
yeah. When it wasn't already being achieved by somebody else, right? I think that's the other key that comes around to this. Well, it kind of actually leads me to this question too, Rebecca. You know, what has to happen in like either a virtual or in-person meeting for you to be engaged, and especially
Mm,
around voice or voice quality? I'm just curious, what are the
yes.
things that have to happen for you?
Yeah. Well, I think a laugh up front is always a good thing. That's where you can hear people's voices. That's where everybody knows. You know, I like to lay the groundwork as a presenter, and I love it when
Mhm.
speakers do that too. Like
Mhm.
everyone is there's something here for everybody. You
Yeah.
know, if your form of engagement is to sit back and listen, hey, that is on the menu. If your form of engagement is, let's say we're in an online meeting, is to let your fingers do the talking. That's on the menu too. And if your form of engagement is to use your voice when the opportunity arises, raise your hand. I'll yield the floor to you so that you can contribute. And just to make that very plain and simple at the forefront of any meeting, like we're serving up engagement today. Any way you want to take it off the menu.
You might appreciate, like at ATD, there was a speaker and she talked about, we're going to do a reflective exercise. So we're going to dig up some stuff. And so she had a tiny little, garden thing and then like the slightly bigger garden piece. And then she had a gigantic shovel and she goes, you could pick any one of these three. Right?
Yeah,
However you want to dig up, right? Whatever it is. So I
I
thought that was
love
a
it.
unique way to do
Ah,
that. What are some ways that
cool.
you use your voice to do that, or other speakers use their voice? What do you love when, like, you're the attendee and there's a speaker there? What are some things that they do with their voice that you really like, that you appreciate?
When they stop talking momentarily, to let something sink in, to let laughter fade. For
Mm.
whatever reason, that they're very in tune with their audience, they know that they can stop talking and that will add emphasis to something or allow something wonderful to happen in the room. Also, the I'm a character actress by training, going way, way back. And so when we are talking about something that happened, to switch into dialogue and to bring the character on stage with us so people can not only see the character but hear that character in their voice, what vocal intonations, inflections, the way they talk, so that we have something different going on up here. I call it, the audio change ups, where we can do with our own voice.
Yeah.
We can bring in, like you do so well, music or some sort of audio on a slide to get our attention. I love it when a speaker will really think about the audio of their entire presentation, and that we need to have, we love to have the variation.
And the support too. So something that I end up doing a lot of is what I call improv producing. And so there was a woman, Jen, who was the closing keynote, and she was talking about joyosity, right? Her program
Mm,
was about joyosity, and she had a reflective assignment about joy, right? And what song do I end up playing very low, right? Except this song, which is "Joy to the World." All the boys and girls, and it's just
yes,
really low, but it made her smile on stage, and it actually like went through the audience, and it's like less than like 90 seconds of music,
yes,
but
music, music.
it added
Mhm.
something in the moment for when people were supposed to be ideally reflecting. Doesn't work for every
Yes,
style, but it overall, right, it usually works for the mass or the majority.
for sure, for sure. A little bit of singing, even. I love that's what Brooklyn and I both spoke
I
at
saw that.
the Seattle the Kings Snohomish County Master Builders for the Professional Women in Building, their annual event last week in Bellevue. And she had the music as she kind of walked through the audience up toward the stage, and everyone's clapping, getting out of their seats clapping. And it was spectacular. My opening was did not include music, but it did include laughter and just getting the audience doing something in the
Something.
first few minutes is, that's one of the things that you talk a lot about. What is it? Time to engagement.
Yeah, TTE. I mean, yeah, more and more this time to engagement is getting great reception because I think too people will then start being aware of it. I think awareness is like 9/10 the battle on most of the stuff that we do, especially in speaking, like filler words or other things like that. And time to engagement is one of them, which is did you talk for 45 minutes of a 50-minute keynote, or do you purposely look, how do I engage this audience? Whether it's laughter or music or technology, it doesn't matter what it is,
Yeah.
but as long as you engage the audience in something besides, just talking at them, I think is super important. That's like something that's high on my list.
Yes, 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 exactly. And also customizing that opening engagement
Yeah.
to the audience, understanding who they are and how they are, in general, how they show up comfortably. I made, I've made some big mistakes, that I've learned from in the past. That's how, I don't know about you, but that's how I learn best. And
Can you
I
share one of them? Is would be okay, or do you?
Yes, yes, yes. This is a good one. In fact, this is one that I'll be sharing at the Engaging conference is that when I first met with the event producer, the
Mhm.
person that hired me, the event planner, I mentioned to her that this workshop that we were doing would include a breakout. This was all online. It would include a breakout.
Yeah.
And initially, she's scheduling me like 6 months out. So I'm thinking, well, we'll talk again before, then.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, she said, "Oh, our speaker in 2 weeks canceled. Can you go ahead and do your workshop now?" Sure, okay. So she did not remember that I said breakouts because that was just an initial conversation. I did not send her a run a show, although I did think about it, um, to, to
Yeah.
highlight the fact that we were doing breakouts. I even hired somebody to help me conduct the breakout sessions. And as soon as we got to the breakout part where I said, okay, we're going to open the rooms, blah, 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 I get this note in the chat from my producer that says, everyone's leaving. Goes like people left in droves. We ended up from an all-time record high of people coming to a virtual event that this organization was putting on to like an all-time low in an instant. And so, anyway, the people that stayed had a wonderful time. I got great comments from those 8 people. But right after it was over, I called the event planner and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry that I did not tell you these people do not do breakouts. They
It's a
are
cultural
all
thing, right?
in
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
places." She's like, "So it's not you, it's just the fact that they do not do this. So could you do this again in 6 months and not do the breakouts?" And of course, that's on me. 100% on me. Great way to learn that lesson. And from now on, I make sure that I understand this audience, how they typically show up.
Right.
That, that's always a point of discussion.
Yeah, because breakout rooms are like that. I call it the third most engaging tool on virtual because most of the time people are more comfortable, and it's kind of like cameras on or off. It's a cultural piece where there are
Hmm.
some cultures where they don't want to do breakouts, and there has been some
Yeah,
documented cases of, X% logging out if there's a breakout
that's
because
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know that percentage overall?
I heard there's something like 25%.
25%.
With like 25% log off if a breakout is going to occur. That's kind of the weird average. But I also think there's another piece around it, which is like everything else you talk about. You tell them in the beginning that it's going to happen, right? And
Hmm.
so
Right.
you say it's part of the program, right? You can also give them choices, which is if you don't want to talk during your breakout, that's okay too. Just listen. And then
Uh-huh.
I actually
Okay.
do this other technique now, which is I turn on the ability for people to move breakout rooms to saying, I give them the ability to fix their own breakout room. Like if you get into a breakout room where everybody's not talking, then move
Right.
yourself.
Oh,
So
okay.
by
Okay.
using adult choice, right,
I
adult
love the
learning
choice
styles,
idea.
yeah, yeah. And so
So,
hopefully that they don't log out. But if they choose to not participate, we make that okay.
yes, yes. And I guess, and that would work in person as well, offering
Yeah,
those choices.
yeah,
So we're going to break into groups of two. Hey, if you're not comfortable doing this today, that is
yeah.
perfectly fine. That's a good choice. Here's another option for
Here's another
you,
option. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Have you ever done something where you say, okay, if you're not comfortable doing a breakout, we're going to be back here in 15 minutes, so come on back, or maybe
Oh,
give
even
people,
better, Rebecca, is
yeah,
I usually leave like I unassign some people that were assigned to breakout rooms and put
yeah,
them in the main room, and then
yeah,
I tell people too. The another choice is like if you just want to chat with us, right? And you don't want to do the breakout thing, that's fine. Just leave and come to the main room, and I'll be
Okay.
here, and we'll just
Okay.
have a conversation,
I
right?
really love that idea. I really love that. Takes the pressure off, giving that other choice.
Yeah. And
That's
the
great.
second, well, the second part around it too is that if you are recording, it's very useful to even run one breakout in the room because that's what gets recorded. Otherwise, you have 15 minutes of dead spot in your recording and you're like, what happened? Right. But if you're
Oh,
there, then you're facilitating it. You expertly show ideally what you wanted to have happen in a breakout room. So
in the main room you're
in the
talking
main
about.
room. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
right, right.
that's the only place being recorded.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Very good tip. Very good tip. Yeah.
I love it. David Carr is watching us on LinkedIn, and he loved the interrupt on behalf of someone else is a great generosity principle. So I just wanted to share
Oh,
he gave
thank
that comment.
you. Well, I'll just say briefly, is it David? Is it David that's in? Okay.
David, yeah,
David, there is an excellent article, and if you connect with me, I will share it with you. It will blow your mind. This was at the World Science Festival in 2012. There were all these like high-level physicists on the stage for two
yeah.
hours, two
Wow.
hours, five men, one woman. And after the first hour, the woman, Veronica Hubner, from my alma mater, UC Davis, she's like a black hole expert, was finally invited to contribute. And
Oh,
immediately she is cut off, talked over by the moderator. A woman in the audience shouts out, her name was Veronica Talkington, let her speak, please. And 2,000 people started cheering, like, let the woman talk, you know? And there was huge articles written about this, and you can actually see I have the link to the actual event that
oh,
I've written about. But it is a great lesson on interrupting, on advocacy,
yeah,
vocal advocacy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So Rebecca, what do you see then in the future, right? For maybe in the next 5 or 10 years for either women's voices or voices over virtual or hybrid.
Oh man, there's much work to do. And I'm glad to be a part of that work in progress. I mean, where my heart is working with women
Yeah.
to help them, to empower them in their own vocal confidence. And if we can do this, we can do much.
Hmm. Well, yes, I continue to be an ally. I'm a member of Innovation Women, which is Bobby Carlton's project about trying to get equality on the stage
Oh
and
yeah.
doing my own parts of just trying to look, what can I do wherever the place that I'm at, how can I be an ally? So those are the things that I continue to do.
You are an
Uh,
excellent ally, John. Well, you're an equal opportunity ally. You support all of us. I mean, I've seen it
yeah.
over and over and over again when one of us, NSA, or one of your many thousands and thousands of contacts is doing something. You're always focusing a spotlight on it to help people rise and shine. It's magnificent, really.
Oh, well, thank you. And again,
Hmm.
as president for National Speakers Association Northwest, even though we did all this really cool stuff, I just really thought the key point was getting our members on stages is one of the coolest things that we can do, is one of the most valuable things that we can do, so that all of our members are using their voices and making change from that location.
Yes, yes, we will ready you. We will ready you to use your vocal influence on stage. Yes.
Okay, speaking of vocal influence, this is known as a speed round. While we've
Hmm.
been talking, I've been writing questions, and if you are okay with it, this is a speed round. I'm going to ask you a question, see if you can answer it as fast as possible, and play some funny sound after that. Okay. Are you ready, Rebecca?
I am a little nervous. Yes, I'm ready.
Best best construction role or tool?
Best construction role, safety director. Tool is a hammer.
Ooh, a hammer. Okay. Favorite type of dog?
All of the above.
Top video camera or tool?
Oh, Sony, no doubt. Sony has the best video camera. A7S is what I have upstairs.
You're a Sony fan. I'm a Canon fan, but they're all good. Best vocal tip you haven't said anything about yet.
To breathe such that you can calm yourself down and focus on in the middle range of your voice. Not too high, not too low, just right, as Goldilocks would say.
Middle range. All right. Best example of being the voice at the table.
Well, like we talked about, advocating for others on behalf of voice equity.
Outstanding. A woman you admire the most.
Oh boy, where do I start? Shirley Chisholm, who influenced me as a young girl. I still have her campaign button promise here. A Catalyst for Change, 1972.
Who ran for president, right?
Who ran for president, yes.
Genius.
First African American woman, first African American congresswoman, and the first African American woman who ran for president.
And I believe there's a movie about her, right?
Oh man, is it good? It's called Shirley.
Oh yeah, Shirley. I did see Shirley.
I've watched it many times.
This is for Shirley. And the last one is if you could have a wish for the last part of 2025, what's one of your wishes for 2025?
Ooh, I wish for the opportunity to be on a stage where there are thousands of women in the audience who I can uplift and support in their own journey toward vocal influence.
Oh, a genius. I think you need your own conference, right, Rebecca? One of these days, you can run your own conference. And here's the last piece I'll give you too. Last question for the day. If you could get people to magically remember one thing from today's conversation, what would that one thing be?
Pursue voice equity above all.
Voice equity above all. Rebecca, thank you so much for sharing. And make sure and check out the Engaging Retreat. You're going to see Rebecca on stage. But more importantly, Rebecca's going to be hanging around. And like, if you want to learn some of this coaching advice from Rebecca, we've seen it work. It's so valuable. Make sure and come to the Engaging Retreat. And Rebecca, thank you for bringing many of your friends to the Engaging Retreat.
You're very welcome. They're excited, as am I.
All right, we've been visiting with Rebecca P. Murray, who says, find your middle voice and don't just get your seat at the table, get your voice at the table and use it. And also here, right, for those, learn how to interrupt with elegance so that you can get your points out into the world, right? And wherever that you need to have influence. Speaking of influence, if you're watching on social media, hey, shout out again to our friend David Carr, who's watching on here. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. If you want all the episodes, make sure and go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online and subscribe on one of the 15 beautiful podcast platforms. And if you want to see Rebecca or myself or 14 other presenters, including Hall of Famers, certified speaking professionals, and the latest Cavett Award winner, Brian Walter, scan this QR code or go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CON. And if you want to be like Rebecca, do this one thing. Go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet, select interview, and you could be the next person here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. I will see you next time.
Going star people